Hey, my legion, how y'all doing today? I'm back with the McDonald's Mukbang. This is their Lenton special. We're Lenton special, 2 fillet of fish for $6. They used to be, when they just had the 2 for $5, and they got rid of that. 2 for $5, you can either get mix and match like 10-piece nugget, fillet of fish, quarter pounder, or Big Mac for two for $5. You know what I mean? We'll mix and match. And then they got rid of that. Now they have like the 2 for $6 fillet of fish Lenton special. It'll be a mukbang. I got some fries too. I have. And Lenton is like, you know, like a religious type thing, you know, and get the time. And I remember right here, they have a half piece of cheese. I don't know what's a half piece of cheese on here. Oh my God. They didn't put any tartar sauce on this. What a... man. They put tartar sauce on this one? There's no... oh, there's tartar sauce on this one. They didn't put tartar sauce on the other one. That's nice. Tartar sauce on here. Let's try that. Mukbang video. Now, I mean, like I said, these are 2 for $6, but I have military discount. Most food reviewers can't claim they get military discount. So it was $4.80. That's not bad. $2 for $5 would have been better, or 2 for $4 would have been good too. I remember the filet of fish had a big origins thing, like the 2 guys were competing. I can't remember the whole story. The one guy wanted to do a hula burger with like a grilled piece of pineapple in a sandwich. And the other guy wanted to do fish, and the guy said, "People aren't gonna get fish nowadays." And then whatever sells more, we'll keep that on the menu. And they sold more of the fish sandwiches. I can't remember. I mean, I heard the story. I can't remember who the heck did it. Now, I got some pop. There might be a burp alert. There might not be. I don't know. I say burp alert, but I like saying belch. I think belch is funny. I know as a kid, we weren't allowed to say fart. And Dad said, you have to say blow stinks. You don't say you don't fart. You say you have to blow some stinks. Saying blow stinks sounds way worse than saying fart, right? And I remember we used to go to church. I mean, you know, every Sunday. And I remember one time Dad was so mad he pulled me and my sister out. Well, amazingly it's because of my mom. And he pulled me and my sister out and said, "Were you blowing stinks in church?" "No." And they were all mad. They tried to blame me like they always do. I was probably 6 or 7. And they said, "We're going home." Okay. I was happy because church is boring as hell. Especially with that one guy who just so monotone. You know what I mean? I remember one time my grandparents came over my dad's side. And one guy replaced him. On Sunday, this Irish priest. And my dad was happy because he's Irish. My dad's half Irish. Well, my dad's full Irish, right? My grandmother's Italian. I remember finding out with nationality, I'm like half Irish, a quarter Italian, a quarter English. My grandma said, "You're 100% Italian." You know what I mean? Because he has to be be right on everything. You know, you can't be an individual on my grandmother. Well, anyways, we went to church and the guy was telling jokes for the most part. I mean, like, you know, just simple jokes and stuff like that. But take that off there. Don't shut off. And he was telling jokes and stuff. And it was fun. I said, boy, that was a fun church service. My dad had a good time, and my grandma, oh, man, like this. You're not supposed to tell jokes in church. Church is supposed to be serious. And like, I mean, because sometimes we would go to my grandparents, and it would got real bad because there was a church. I mean, there's church. It was a beautiful church, though. They lived in Greenville when they were still alive, right? And we go home, and we just sit down, we watch the TV, and my grandma shut off the TV and say, "Go to church, go to church, go." As soon as my dad leaves, she'd yell and scream, "Go to church, go to church." And she said, "Well, I'm going to watch you, and you make sure you walk all the way down to the church." And we had to stay in there 2 or 3 hours. There wasn't even any mass or anything like that. We just had to stay there. We just goofed off. I mean, but we couldn't go anywhere else. You know, she wouldn't give us money to go to the movie or something like that. There was a train place that we wanted to go to. Oh, Granny didn't have any money. And then I finally went there back in 2016, 2017. My sister and I went to Pymatuning Deer Park, where I'd never been to. And we went there, found the place was free the whole time. But she wanted to go there anyway because she's a bitch. And I remember, speaking of church, I mean, being boring and stuff like that, you know. Now with my arthritis, it's like, you know, the Catholic Church, it's like stand up, sit down, kneel, stand up, sit down, kneel. My arthritis, you know, that'd be really tough. I mean, that's church, not PT, which is physical training in Army terms. And then I remember having to go to catechism, me and my sister. Or my sister and I. And that was like, most people went to Bible school, which is on Sunday, or Sunday school. Catechism was on Saturday morning. It was at 9 o'clock, I think 9 o'clock in the morning till like 11 o'clock or 11:30. And that sucked because I was a kid. I wanted to stay home and watch cartoons. And it was just like, except like a school. You get a report card. And it had kindergarten through 6th grade. And then you were done. I remember my mom made me repeat 2nd grade twice because I got sick in 2nd grade. And I missed communion. And the communion is really easy. And I had like my first communion. They were selling all this stuff. And I remember years later, my sister never had. Well, I'll tell you what happened. We went to catechism for a few years, for a while. And then Dad took us out. And Dad said, well, I have to tell you what happened. I'm going to have to take you out of the catechism. He explained it to us. But what happened was, we had to go to a thing where, you know, the nuns were saying, like, well, you have to buy flowers for the church. And I told my dad went to the nun. Well, I went over there to my nun and I said, well, you know, I'm laid off right now. I can't really afford to buy flowers. And my dad, and the nurse said, well, the nun said, well, can your son afford to go to this school? My dad was really pissed and he took us out. And I guess he talked to my mom because usually my mom rules the world. I mean, my dad hated church. It's only because of my mom. And then he told us, well, I'm sorry you can't go to catechism no more. I was ecstatic. I was so happy. But it wasn't all bad. I mean, sometimes they show cartoons there. Some of them they show H.R. Puff and stuff. And they had a witch in it, though. So that was cool. And then I can't remember why I got pulled out. But like I said, I had to repeat 2nd grade. It was really embarrassing. She said, you failed in a class here? No, Mom made me go back because I didn't take communion. And communion is like super easy. I remember my sister, for whatever reason, my sister didn't do communion. And I remember my sister, because that was the one thing at church that I kind of like doing because it was interactive and it kind of broke the monotony of the service. And it wasn't as boring, it made it less boring. Well, it depends on the priest you have. I mean, sometimes church can be really boring. And I remember my sister, Now we were at Grammy's, and there was a church service. Oh, and one thing, my grandmother, she would never give us money. She said, Grammy don't have any money, Grammy don't have any money. Sometimes she'd go to the mall, we just look, right? But sometimes she'd give us $1. And she said, you can spend $1 here. And I remember getting a 3-pack of comic books for 99¢. They used to have that. And it was like came to $1.05. And my grandma was like, well, it's not, it was a 5 cent though. And she said, well, Grammy doesn't mind paying tax. My sister got a $3 item, and they had to pay the whole $3. I thought they were going to have a heart attack. Now, my grandfather was looking at the organs. He actually bought an organ for that. Now, I mean, that was a big expense. He was allowed to get because my grandmother pretty much ruled the roost. She was very domineering. And because I didn't know my grandfather fought in World War. Well, let me go back to this one story before I get back. My grandmother would never give us any money, but she sure as hell, we go to church service, she sure as hell would say, give us $2 to put in a collection plate when they passed around. She said, make sure you do this real slow so everybody knows you put money in it because we want everyone to see you put money in it. She would never get us, and then she put it real slow in there, or she would give us money for the wishing well in the mall. Because there was this thing called Kitty Carnival, or Kitty Matinee, right? It was a quarter to watch a cartoon. She wouldn't give us a quarter for a cartoon. Said, I don't believe waste my money. But she'd give us a quarter to put in a wishing well. That's a huge waste of money. At least you get to see a fucking cartoon for that, you know? Well, anyway, like she said, you put the money in a collection plate real slow, make sure everyone sees you. I mean, she was real. Who was that evangelist that said he needed like $11 million to build this chapel or something like that? Or God visited him in a dream, said he was going to strike him dead. And my grandmother said, that poor man. Poor man. She said, I heard she gave him money, but Dad said she didn't give him any money. I don't know how true that is or not. One of the biggest scams right there. Well, anyways, going back to church and communion, my sister, I was at my grandmother's. We were at church, my sister whispered me, and I said, I'd like to do communion too. I never did it. Could you tell me how to do it? I said, sure. You just go up there and you say, the body of Christ, amen. You hold your hand out like that, and they put the thing in there. You can open your mouth, but I just put your hands up. And they give you French fries. No, they just give you the communion wafer. I don't know what they do now with COVID. Well, that's what happened. Well, my grandmother, if my grandmother would have known that, I told my sister, did communion without ever being officially done it in catechism or church, she'd probably say it's blasphemous. I told her what to do when she went up there, and she said she remembers that memory. And so that's cool. Let's try the other fillet of fish. Here we go. And that's pretty much it. I'm going to go put tartar sauce on this one. But, that's my McDonald's Lenton dinner, Lenton special mukbang. And some religious speak. It wasn't all bad in catechism. But I was ecstatic when Dad took us out of there. I didn't want to go there. And they had like a penny carnival, which I really liked. And I really, the game was like a penny and stuff, like religious stuff. I won a ton of stuff the first time. They had another one. Went there next year, and it was so rigged you couldn't win anything. I don't know, they said, oh, they made it too easy. It was too easy for these kids. So they had to make it. They rigged the games and stuff like that. It was bogus. But that's how it was. I don't know when my sister got yanked out. This is such a long time ago. I want to talk about domineering. My grandmother, well, my grandfather, I knew he was in World War II. And he helped, one thing he did, he helped liberate Auschwitz. And I didn't know about this till, I knew he was in the military, right? I didn't know about this till way, way, way later. My mother married another guy after she left my dad. But that was one of the best things that ever happened. My mom was nuts. She still is nuts. And she married this guy named Joe, who passed away in 94, 95. And she said, next time, Mary, I'm going to marry for money, not for love. And my dad always said she hated my guts. She took it on you two kids, and she did. But she was horrible. I guess my sister said she was really bad after I left for the military. Anyways, she married Joe, and then Joe was telling me, you know, your grandfather helped liberate Auschwitz. I didn't know that. And she said your grandmother would never let him talk about it. Every time he said something, she'd say, shut up, George, shut up, George, shut up, George. And even whenever I was over there, he had a book about, you know, stuff. And my grandfather started talking. My grandma was like, shut up, George, shut up, George, shut up, George. And my grandfather just had a big smile on his face. And he would shut up. And my stepdad gets so mad at him that he would do that. And I was saying, like, he helped save the world from Hitler and it came home to Mussolini. You know? Just like you said, she was Italian. There's the belt right there. But she was just, I mean, because when I was growing up, no one ever said, no one ever said anything. So I thought a lot of that behavior was normal. But I never knew he helped in anything like that. I just thought he fought in World War II. And I know something else I'll tell you about. My stepdad was mad about. He took a bunch of photos of what happened there, the horrible events. And my she sent them home. And I guess a lot of soldiers sent them home to like their girlfriends or mothers and stuff like that. And they're so horrible they burned them. And my grandmother burned them too. And she said, "Oh, those are so awful photos." And my stepdad was so mad. Said they would have been worth a fortune. I mean, he'd always think about the money angle, but I mean, they probably would be. But I mean, that's it. That's my Lenten dinner fish mukbang. My McDonald's Lenten dinner, my McDonald's Lenten special mukbang. How about that? I hope you enjoyed the video, everybody. Until next time, please take care of my legion.